Welcome to the Mile High podcast. This is your host, Dr. Daniel Knowles. First thing I'd like to say is if you are listening or watching this episode, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss a Mile High podcast, whether it be on Stitcher or YouTube or iTunes or any of the other channels. We look forward to connecting you with TIC around the world. And of course, our annual event is coming up just around the corner. We recommend and invite you to rise up to Mile High, August 15th to 18th. It's what everybody is looking forward to in August. www.riseuptomilehigh.com. And of course, you can use the savings code podcast to save on your seats. Today, I am honored to have as a guest on this episode, one of my personal favorite Colorado chiropractors, Dr. Elise Rigney. She has been a multi-time Mile High presenter, is back on stage this year, and she's a big supporter of all things chiropractic in Colorado, and has really been an incredible leader for women in chiropractic and business and team building. She completed her degree at Northwestern, and she was amazingly in 2015 named Colorodon's Mind and Body Magazine Superwoman of the Year. I love speaking to her Superwoman, which is how I think about you. Thank you, and welcome to the podcast, Dr. Elise.
Thank you, Dr. Danny. Thanks for having me.
We're grateful to have you. And actually, let's start this out. This year coming up, what are you excited about with Mile High?
Oh my gosh, I'm just excited to be back at Mile High. I've been to every single Mile High since Mile High 1, and I think last year was incredible. Each year gets better, but I think last year there was a whole different tone, just with really because of you and Rochelle, and so I'm just excited to see what this year is going to bring. Your lineup of speakers is phenomenal as usual. And for me, Mile High is a lot about community. And it's a lot about that connection that you get with other chiropractors. So even though I love the speakers, I'm definitely a social butterfly. So I spend a lot of time talking to and just staying up late, having those like really great deep conversations with some doctors that I only get to see this time of year. So that's really my favorite part, is just all the different opportunities of like luncheons and breakouts and all of that. And even just speaking with the vendors, I think overall there's just such an experience to Mile High where it's not just the speakers, it's really like the environment that you're in and the connection that you get while you're there too. So, and every year's different, like I connect with different doctors every single year, and it just brings a whole new unity to our Colorado chiropractic group too, overall.
I couldn't agree more. I really feel culturally our world is a lot of community deprived and information overloaded. And one of the things that I love, we put a lot into putting together great speakers, great lineup, and I know our speakers bring their A game. I mean, I see these people speak elsewhere, and when they speak at Mile High, I know they bring it to a whole nother level, and which is what I love. But, my favorite thing is ditto to what you just said. It's the people and connecting with people that I absolutely love and feeling like it's part of a community and family. So, and I appreciate you being there every year and being such a vital part. So thank you so much. And so that being said, let's talk about you. So, so you have just exploded out of the gate in FOCO in Fort Collins with your practice. And it's so exciting to see your practice blow up and also impact so many lives and bring in so many people to work with you. And so let's start with that. You really do a great job of building a team, both your chiropractic professionals, but also the chiropractors, chiropractic associates. Talk about what you think are keys with team building.
Sure. Yeah, that's something that I will say, like right before we got on this, I talked about how I really get along with everyone in chiropractic. Like I don't get into the drama in the different groups, and I've been I still am a part of a lot of different groups, but I think something overall for me is like just a theme in my life is respecting each other, respecting every single team member, and getting rid of the ego. that comes along. You know, of course, like there's things I know that we do the best of in regards to chiropractic, especially chiropractic in this community. But I'm not going to ever say one negative word about any other chiropractor in anywhere, really. But be it a chiropractor right across the road from me, I just think highly of anyone who is helping the community. And the same goes for my team. So respect is just huge. Naming my clinic Impact Chiropractic was very, very purposeful. I didn't want this clinic to be about me. I didn't want my name to be behind it. Actually, probably over half of my practice members have no idea I own the clinic. And I love that. I love it for multiple reasons. You know, personally, I think it's really great because it has allowed me to have, you know, 4-month maternity leaves and to be out of the office, but still have our patients taken care of at such a high level. And it's because our patients really respect all of the doctors. And so overall, I'd say respect is huge. And then also just being there for mentoring. We're bringing on another young doctor who just graduated from Life, and she's going to be joining us at the end of the month. And she hasn't had any female mentors whatsoever. When interviewing her, she's been to Mile High a couple years. She's been to a lot of different events. As a student, and I'm really impressed with her resume as a student, but just hearing that all of her mentors have been men, which is fine. But when I asked her even her favorite speakers who are women in chiropractic who she's seen on the stage, her response was Jeannie Ohm. And you can't beat Jeannie Ohm, okay? You know, but you know, to hear that there isn't more influence on the young doctors out there in regards to the presence of women in chiropractic and being able to mentor them, that's really a passion of mine. So mentoring the doctors in here, we have even one of my CAs, she's going to be going to chiropractic school next year. We have a couple of patients in chiropractic school right now. And I think it's just a big, I guess you want the qualities of like leadership and team with my team, but it's the respect. And then it's just always keeping chiropractic at the core and keeping it fun. Overall, I think that's really important, and just keeping a fun environment with my team, making sure that we're really intentional with celebrating wins and with the hustle and bustle that comes along with practice. I mean, you know what it's like with a high volume practice. The energy is keeping the energy at a high level is really important, but also just like being able to, when you're on that kind of roller coaster ride of during prime time, you're going, your whole team is, what are you doing to like refuel? And for me, it's really respecting my team's, their personal lives too, not constantly asking too much of them on the weekends. And if we do, sometimes it's going paddle boarding or it's happy hours or Pilates or that sort of stuff where it bonds us, but it's not like one more thing for them to do. So I think just overall, like respecting them as leaders and treating them as leaders in the community. And then just respecting their lives too and supporting that and knowing they have other hobbies. I have one of my assistants is a barrel racer, so we'll go and watch her races on the weekends, and just really loving them in where their passion is at too, even though, you know, the more you love them for whatever passions they have, the more they even have more of a passion for chiropractic too, I would say.
Love it. Love it. And you want to see more of that in chiropractic because that brings longevity to your team. And we all know turnover is not so healthy for a practice.
No.
Yeah.
I would say, like, even just from the beginning, I'm really selective too. I'm really protective of my patients in general. And so bringing someone in, it's quite a process to become a member of our team too. Even just with this hiring process, I put out our ad on Facebook, only on social media back in April for another associate doctor. And right away I received like 40 resumes. And I think that's a lot for, you know, not being close to a chiropractic school or anything like that. And then, I didn't find anyone that was necessarily the ideal fit. I found a bunch of phenomenal doctors in different ways, but because of that, like, protective quality I have and expectations I have, I outline them pretty clearly right away so that the potential doctor knows what they're going to be coming into too, you know? And I think that's really important. And even with my CAs too, they have offer letters. I really treat each individual position as professionally. So they have offer letters, they all have benefits. We pay for short-term disability, long-term disability, retirement, we match it. So there's just a lot of extra benefits that I think come along with the position to keep it at that professional level too.
Excellent. So excellent. So let's talk about something more that you mentioned, which was about women leadership, right?
Yeah.
And what you said with the people that you've discussed and maybe having a lack of connection with female leaders in our profession. We've had a very big shift. Not everybody's aware of this for female attendance in chiropractic schools, which is outstanding, and it's about time. So we want to see that reflected in the stages, which we do at Mile High. That's a big focus of ours. What do you see? Talk about why you think women leadership is important in chiropractic.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, I just really want to acknowledge what you've done with Mile High from, I want to say starting in 2014, you were very intentional. That was, so 2014, I did a talk with the LCW back in Atlanta, and I actually called all of the schools and asked them their demographics. So when you hear like the percentage, over 50% of students graduating are women, I did the research back then. And that was, like when the book Lean In came in from Sheryl Sandberg, and I think there was just a movement, the movement became stronger career-wise back then. But from that moment, you already had a higher percentage of women represented as speakers compared to any other event within chiropractic. So I just want to honor you for recognizing that and for really making the change too, because I think it's important that we're showing that for men and women. It's not just for the female doctors who are graduating. It's for everyone, and that's what plays back to respect too. But I think there's sometimes different messaging that can come from women. So it's great to have that represented as well, and just all diversity. But you were asking, why do you think that women rising up to leadership roles is important in chiropractic? I think it's incredibly important because, like I said, we offer a different message, and sometimes that's what's needed. There's a lot of old school mentality when it comes to chiropractic, especially within practice management companies. That is one way or the highway. Sorry, I'm getting a call on here.
I've had that happen.
Okay.
So good.
Husband. Okay. So I think overall that it's important to be able to have that tone, that messaging, and then for other women and men to see that you are able to be a mother, you are able to own a practice, you are able to have that harmony within your lifestyle and your career, and truly, it sounds cheesy, but you can do it all. And I think, like I said, I think there's different messaging that can come from women, and even points of vulnerability that you don't always hear on stage until sometimes you get that feminine tone with it. That's really important, because we're sitting here, and oftentimes, you can be sitting at a chiropractic conference in the audience and you feel like you're the only one feeling a certain way, because it's the same messaging over and over for years. And it truly is. There have been a lot of speakers who are phenomenal, and that's who we look up to in a lot of ways. But the overall message hasn't changed, but the message within our society and culture has, if that makes sense. So it's important to just see a rise up overall. And I think not just with women, but with millennials, with others who are maybe changing it up, mixing it up, and making a shift within chiropractic, within our communication with the community. There's just so many different ways to do things that I think it's nice to be able to see that represented from a bunch of different people.
I agree. And I got to tell you, and I appreciate you mentioning Mile High with that. Our last year at Mile High, our associate was a female chiropractor. She came out of it just literally saying, I've never heard so many incredibly strong, empowered women speakers. That was her takeaway from the event, and that should be happening more and more in the profession. And there's great organizations that support women. You mentioned the LCW, and there's many great organizations, but let's talk about the LCW, because you've been highly involved with that over the years. What are some things that are important about the LCW, the League of Chiropractic Women?
Yeah, so I I really highly recommend LCW and women chiropractors. I think both those groups, women chiropractors has a more digital presence, I would say. Huge social media group, I'm sure you're aware of. I don't know, definitely over 7,000 female chiropractors in there, probably more than that at this point. And then the LCW too, I think the LCW brings it back to more of the principle, I'll say, compared to women. They all accept everyone, so I don't want to get myself in trouble by saying anything, but I think they both support women within chiropractic and especially students along their journey, because I have had students, I will fly students out here from other schools to help with different events and whatnot. And the women who come, who are chiropractic students, I've heard the messaging of certain schools where the doctors who are part of the internship programs or peak programs or all of that are telling the women to marry other chiropractors, which you guys did a good job, you understand. But I'm not saying that's not a bad idea, but I'm just like, seriously, like just that it'll be easier on them overall. And I'm like, I think I don't want anyone to ever feel limited in any single way. And I think like both of those groups with LCW and women chiropractors, you're able to reach out to different women who have been practicing different amount of time, different ways, different techniques, different styles, different hours that they're in practice. There's so many questions that come out that can be technical or just big picture too, looking at exit strategies, looking at bringing in other doctors into their clinic, looking at satellite options. Like there's just so much conversation in those groups that really, I feel like there's not judgment too. And that's really important. There's really strict rules, and everyone's there to support each other. And then with the LCW, they're supporting all women or supporters of women within chiropractic. So spouses, CAs, students, you don't have to be a DC necessarily. So I think that's really a beautiful thing too.
Yes, outstanding. And it's vital to have that kind of, gender and race diversity.
Everything, yeah. Yep.
And all the ships rise together. If it's not any either or there or one or the other. Now, in terms of business, you've done some things that to many chiropractors are uncommon. I like them to be more common, but like tell us a little bit about your practice in terms of, and not to be like numbers focused, that's not the intention, but tell us a little bit about your practice with, you've built a big new clinic, and you have had a number of associates working for you, and that's something that we want to see more abundant practices. Share a little bit about your office.
Sure. I think right away when I opened up, I had my husband, who's not a chiropractor, Rocky, running the front desk for me. And I think honestly, as a student, I got super involved in every single group I could possibly get involved in. And I think that is what and I was a CA before going to chiropractic school. So I think like the philosophy was already ingrained in me. And then it was spending a lot of time in chiropractic school, getting all of the business stuff together and the practice management side, coming up with the systems I wanted to use, even down to like knowing my software specifically and at every single detail. And so I think that allowed me to really explode right away. And so there was a need for an associate within a couple of months of my first year in practice. And I just have learned since then. And my associate, Dr. Laura, has been with me. We just celebrated 4 years. And I think I've just had some solid doctors in here. I haven't had haven't burnt any bridges as far as I'm aware of. When doctors who have left, it's been for pretty important reasons or to go off on their own. So I think just part of, I guess, the business side of things is I've kept things really simple and compliant and really easy to lay my head down at night and not have to worry. Cash practice. And just overall, I guess I think the systems that we have in place are so streamlined that I actually had a doctor just visiting maybe a month ago from Chicago or Illinois. And he was like, geez, like, do your CAs have to do anything? Because, everything's automated. Everyone's on automated payments and automated schedule and we're texting them. And I think it just comes down to being really, really seamless in here. So our notes are done right away. And just like the automation is really key. to making things successful. And then I think the marketing that comes along with that is we still do a lot of, I guess you could say like the old school marketing, just a small percentage of the time. Like we have a couple of big screening events where we'll get usually over 100 patients scheduled from them. So we've kept those, but then overall, I think we've just really made a name in the community by creating collaboration partners and different influencers within social media, within other businesses and other women-owned businesses in town. I have a mastermind, a local mastermind where we're all business owners within Fort Collins. And I think just keeping those partners and that, again, that mutual respect where we just collaborate and send patients each other's, or send, you know, a lot of them own like fitness studios and restaurants and salons and that sort of stuff. So we're able to, anytime anyone's looking for a chiropractor, Impact is definitely the name that's natural to say right away. And then I think with expanding into this practice, so I just moved into this practice and I built it out from a shell. It's 4,800 square feet, and so it's right on the main street in town. And so I think that location and just like every single detail that went into planning this office and the flow of the office has completely paid off. So you know, it's difficult because I spend a lot of time, like I met with a chiropractor yesterday too, and you spend a lot of time helping others, which is great, other chiropractors. But really, when I look at it, like I think a lot of my decisions within business have been without too much stress, with like grace and ease. And if anything feels really forceful or really heavy, then I just know that's not the right direction. That's not in alignment or congruent with what we should be doing. And so even though that's not really a analytical way to say, you know, to make decisions at all, it's something that's always worked for me and always helped me to enjoy practice, really. You know, it hasn't ever become a burden at all. So I guess that's not necessarily a very specific answer on tangibility and everything, but yeah, I think just maintaining a cash practice and simplicity in systems and specifics and systems, and really having a training program for your team where they know exactly what they're doing and the expectations and standards are set is just important, and makes everything easier and smoother, and allows the ability for growth within the practice and the growth within the team too.
Yes, and I've got to tell you, I mean, we're very fortunate, both of us, and to be practicing at a time when there are such automation tools that weren't around 20 years ago.
I know.
And you know, the change I've seen between the resources that I've had in my office, which are probably a lot of them similar to yours, you know, of automation, just makes you be able to actually do what you're supposed to do, which is take care of the people, you know.
Totally.
And be able to do that.
I tell my CAs, I'm like, I feel like I'm being an old person, being like, back in my day when I was a CA, I had paper charts that I had to document everything. Literally, we had a paper schedule. If someone changed their appointments, you're like erasing in pencil.
Hey, I've been in practice longer than you. I remember, believe me.
I know. I'm just like, and the chemical machine, like the chemical room.
I had that too. Yeah, I know. When my team members say it takes a long time to process digital x-rays and mark them, I'm like, really? You don't know, wearing those masks.
Yeah. The surprise of how the film would turn out too, you know.
Yes,
just like,
yes.
Hope this works.
Yep, exactly. So, you know, it's really a great time to have an abundant, successful, impactful, I love that that's the name, practice like yours. And I really would like more people to, I'm psyched for them to hear you at Mile High. I'm psyched that they're going to hear this podcast, or I've already heard it now that we're talking. But and I'm also really would like encourage more of them to connect with you as an example of what you can do in practice, because it's so frequently are people told what you can't do, and there's so much possibility.
Yeah, and I welcome anyone who wants to talk to me. I'm an open book, and I think being vulnerable with what's really going on with you or with your practice is really important. And I won't sit here and pretend like my life is perfect or anything like that, but I do want to make sure the messaging is clear that practice can be really fun, and you can enjoy everyone you work with, and, you know, really love going to work every single day. When it's not really work, you know, to get to that place feels so good. And you just notice the changes in your patients and the results happening faster too, when overall that abundant, energetic mindset is there within your entire four walls.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
So again, look forward to having you on stage at Mile High. And we're grateful to be part of the Mile High community, and we look forward to people's feedback about this podcast, because I know they're going to love it. Thank you for all you do for chiropractic in Colorado and the world, and your community. Everybody, we look forward to seeing you join us to Rise Up at Mile High, www.riseuptomilehigh.com. Grab your seats. It's just around the corner, so it's going to be fun, and it'll be more fun with you there. So keep changing spines and lives and minds with chiropractic, and we'll see you a mile high. Like our page on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Mile High Chiro.